What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? NoZoupForYou here, and today we're going to take a look at the Tier 8 German battleship Anhalt. And this is a very funky looking battleship. Its back is longer than its front. It's got 15 guns, and I don't know. You probably heard some people out there already talking about it. So I'm going to give you my take on it, my review, and, you know, this is just going to help you make a decision whether you want to drop down the doubloons for this ship. I think it's only available for doubloons right now. So, yeah. I always like to look up the names of these ships and translate them. So when I first typed in Anhalt to the German to English translator, Clue came up. And I'm sure some of you Germans out there are probably wondering what the hell I'm talking about, or wondering if, you know, I typed it in wrong or something else. And I'm thinking I did, because every time I typed in Anhalt, it came up with something different. So the first time I typed it in, it came up with Clue. The second time, it came up with Stop. The third time, it came up with Persistent. And, of course, Anhalt is also a region in Germany, or a locale, or something to that effect. So it's interesting because of the three things that came up, Persistent probably is what this ship is named after, or if it's more likely that it's the region in Germany, because I think Germany tended to name their ships more after regions or places than what the British did. Action, you know, verbs, everything else. However, I think Clue and Stop are better names for this ship. Clue would have made more sense because I have no idea what the hell this is and why it's in the game. And Stop because they probably should have stopped and not made this ship at all. And you can tell already that I am not a fan of this ship. And I really am not. I purchased this ship hoping it would be something fun, and it has turned out that it is not really fun whatsoever. There are just way too many cons on this ship to enjoy her at all. I mean, I really don't see myself playing it that much. I was hoping it was going to be a good secondary battleship. Secondaries go up to 11.5, but when you've been spoiled with ships like Schlieffen and Pommern, and you wind up with something that's not close, it kind of jades you right off the bat. And this ship is not a secondary ship. I find that its secondaries just aren't good at all. So I'm going to walk you through the stats of this ship, and then just kind of the pros and cons. I mean, you already know what I think about it. I gave that away. I kind of gave my hand away when I was talking about Clue and Stop, because this ship is a mystery. But first and foremost, let's talk about the survivability of the Anhalt. You get 69,500 hit points, so that is a generous helping of hit points. If there is one thing that can be said about this ship, it does have some staying power. It has decent survivability, but I still, that's not enough to overcome everything else. Artillery, like I said, you get those insane amounts of the main guns. And I think I said 14. My math is a little off. It's 15 guns. You've got 15 350 millimeter guns, but don't let that get you excited, because they just don't feel that good. They don't have that German precision. I feel that they don't have the accuracy they needed, even when you boost that accuracy by adding plotting room. I just am not I'm not a fan of these guns. They do have a firing range of 21.1 kilometers. You can add to that with spotting aircraft, but outside of cruisers, I just don't feel these guns really are good against other battleships. I mean, I've had some decent hits. I think I got I did get a Citadel on a Pommern, but I think that was more just a random one-off lucky hit than anything else. These guns, just for the amount you have, they just don't feel that good. You've got a slow reload time of 30 seconds as well. The guns turn slow. There's just, in my opinion, not that much to like about them. And here's part of the reason why too. Your velocity is only 815 meters per second. That's kind of on the slower side right there, and that's both for HE and AP. I already touched on the secondaries. 11.5 max, but I just don't feel that they fire particularly fast. I don't feel that they cause a lot of fires. I just don't build this thing as a secondary ship, because I think you'll be disappointed. And this moves on to the torpedoes, which you do have torpedoes. One in the front and one in the back. They're underwater torpedoes. They've got a range of 6 kilometers and a speed of 54 knots. They're basically sea mines. But this also brings me to the only cool thing about this ship, and it's when you drop these torpedoes, they do a weird snake zigzag thing at the very beginning before going on to their target. And that is probably the neatest thing about this ship, and the only cool thing worth mentioning, which is pretty sad. I guess you can also say that the torpedoes have good firing arcs. You can almost fire them directly in front of you, which is nice if you're going bow in against another ship. But unfortunately, with only one of them, you're not going to really do much. They do cause a lot of damage, almost 20,000 damage. So that's another nice thing. But again, one torpedo is not going to do you much against a battleship, especially if you're going up against a tier 9 or tier 10 head on. You're going to get that torpedo off. You may or may not hit it. Your guns really aren't going to be able to do anything, and you're going to get slaughtered. So there's that. AA, I mean, it's got it. 68 out of 100. 68 out of 100, excuse me. So, Maneuverability, your top speed is 26.3, so you are somewhat lethargic. Your turning circle radius is 900 meters, and your rudder shift time is 16 seconds. You feel like the Exxon Valdez. You are slow, you are unwieldy, and you're just really not that nimble, and it's not that fun. Wrapping things up with concealment, with everything you can put on it, your detectability is going to be 13.5 kilometers. So while that's not horrendous, it's about average for battleships. You really can't use concealment to your advantage either. So what are the pros about this ship? Well, I mean, it's got that cool little torpedo zigzaggy thing, and I mean, if you do catch a cruiser unaware with the amount of the guns you have, you can blap them, supposing a fair amount of your shells land on it. But outside of that, cons of this ship, it's slow, it's not very accurate. It's just not what you want out of a German battleship, and for those of you that are fans of the Schlieffen and the Palmer and even Bismarck and Tirpitz, at Tier 8, they're just many better options. For that matter, Tirpitz is a better option at Tier 8. Brandenburg at Tier 8 is a better option. Just about any other German premium battleship at Tier 8 is a better option than the Anhalt. So, I hate to say it, but this ship is kind of a dud. I mean, you can't have every premium ship being good, but this thing definitely could use a couple buffs, in my opinion. One thing that would help it would probably be hydro, which it does not have. This ship does not have hydro. Don't expect to be able to detect torpedoes, and don't expect to be able to charge in and take out destroyers with hydro, because you've got no hydro. I think that would help it, and maybe buffing the Sigma on this or giving it slightly better reload might help it, but until they do something, I mean, the potential is here for a decent ship, but as it stands, I just can't recommend this ship. It's just not good as it stands right now. The secondaries aren't good, the guns aren't great, it's slow, maneuverability is horrible, so hopefully they'll do something to make it better, but I can't recommend it at this point. So if you do have it, I'm interested in your opinions. I mean, if you do like it, that's cool. If you've got it to work for you, that's awesome. But let me know either way in the comments section of this video, and I will catch you all later. Zoop.